Natrone ball.
Hey.
Right?
Maybe.
How are you?
That's very good.
You're looking big.
All right, we're ready to get started. On to the first question with Coach Means. All right, we start with Jeremiah here.
Yep, Jeremiah Holloway with Inside Carolina. Natrone, I want to ask you kind of somewhat of a two-part question. So for you staying on and with staff with Belichick, I guess initially how did those first few conversations go, and what kind of factored in for your decision to stay around and be part of his first staff at UNC?
After everything was announced that Coach Belichick was going to come on as the head coach of the program, I think we all were just kind of taken aback and really didn't know what our role was going to be. But I was, after speaking to administration, I was instructed to just patiently wait my time, and I would have a chance to sit down and talk with with Coach and Mike about whatever opportunities were going to be available for myself, and that's eventually how it played out. We wrapped up the bowl season and transitioned into roster management, and we cast a broader net in terms of recruiting at that time. So really just got to work evaluating prospects and just waiting for things around my situation to be finalized. Obviously, once it was announced that I was going to be retained and kept on as the running backs coach, I was obviously very excited about that. Excited about this opportunity to work at a university where not only that I played, but I've been a fan of since I was a child. So definitely excited and grateful to be here.
Noah.
Hey, Noah Weisskopf with Tar Heels 24/7. I'm curious, when did you first realize that Damon June had what we saw last game in his tank? When did you first realize, and what was your first impression when you met him originally?
I think when I first saw Juju, right, when I first met him, and obviously we've been recruiting him for a while, I was impressed at his size and what he was able to do on tape. And when he came in early on in camp, obviously like most young freshmen, he was just finding his way, but you could tell that the pace at which he practiced, his ability to make guys miss, that there was something that was there. Being a young guy, it's taken him some time. Really, in the overall scheme of things, it hadn't really taken a long time, but he's just a guy who's just continually practiced hard and gotten better and taken advantage of an opportunity, and worked his way up to the depth chart. And now he was able to come out last week and have a good performance for us against Richmond.
And then Coach Belichick also mentioned to us after the game that it's important for him not to get too big of a head after a game like that. How do you make sure that throughout practices and even going into games that he's not getting complacent and he's continuing to work to get better and not just stay at that point?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a message that we want to hammer home daily. But with the group of guys who we have in the room, it's a very talented group, and a lot of what we do is tailored to our opponents. So these guys know that at any given time they could be called upon, and their roles could change drastically. So all the guys are ready to go at the drop of a hat, and it's the competition in the room that I think keeps everybody level-headed, because again, we have guys in this room who started multiple games and who are able to do a lot of things for us offensively. So I think it's the competition in the room that definitely plays a big part in that.
Right.
Hey, Coach Grant Sasser of Tar Heels on this eye. The running back room has a lot of players with varying skill sets. How do you leverage each player's strengths to fit the offensive scheme?
Again, I think a lot of what we do is really dictated by who we play. I think having a diverse group of guys who are able to do a lot of similar things, but some guys are able to do certain things that others can't. So I think we have an advantage in that regard, that to leverage the skills based on who we are playing, who our opponent is that week, gives us an opportunity to keep all the guys in play, and that's something that the various skill sets in the room allows us to do.
Natrone, I was wondering if with Damon June, do you feel any sort of kinship to him? I mean, he's an in-state guy who's sort of burst on the scene with a big game. I mean, you came on your freshman year, in-state guy, grew up watching UNC just like him. I mean, are there some similarities there to how he's growing and developing at this stage in his career to you, hard runners?
I hadn't, to be honest, I hadn't really thought about it. You know, because our focus has been, you know, so much on just, you know, our next opponent, who our next opponent is, and, you know, what is it that we have to do to prepare and, you know, go out and, you know, win these games. But I think that, you know, now that you mentioned it, I think there are definitely some similarities. Obviously, both of us being from the state of North Carolina, you know, having an opportunity to play early as freshmen. You know, Juju actually, you know, played earlier than I did when I was a freshman. So, you know, you don't have to reach too far to, you know, make those comparisons. But, you know, it's not where I'm at with it. You know, it's really about, you know, how can I help him, you know, along with these other running backs that we have in the room, you know, be the best version of themselves daily in order to give us the best chance to win football games.
Okay.
I'm curious, you talk about all these running backs have like different skill sets, and you guys kind of used Caleb Hood in like a fullback setting in goal go situations a few times. Is that something that he's been used in before, and how do you kind of use him or use different backs in situations like Davion Wells or short yard situations? Kind of that way.
You know, we just really, again, you know, really look at film, look at matchups. I think Caleb kind of stumbled into that role. He, you know, had a couple of really, really good blocks in fall camp. You know, he was eager, he was willing. I think that, you know, for him to go out and show that he will be physical when called upon. So, you know, it wasn't by design, but he's the guy who's grabbed that role by the reins. And, you know, again, you know, we have multiple guys in the room, and, you know, they all have different skill sets, and, you know, they all have different roles. And I think it's about, you know, being appreciative of and, you know, making the most of your opportunity within this team and teams that we have. And I think everybody takes great pride in every chance they have to get into the game and to affect the game. So, you know, these guys are willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. Also, we saw a quarterback sneak for a touchdown there a little bit with Gio Lopez, and that's something like running backs kind of push in on quarterbacks like that. How much do you guys practice short situations like that and using Gio as a runner?
I mean, situational football and situational football, again, those are going to be things that are going to be dictated by, you know, our opponent and our game plan and whatever we may see as an advantage or a disadvantage to us when it comes to, you know, what's being put in. So, you know, those are going to be things that change from week to week, obviously, based on who it is that we play. And, you know, as a coaching staff, it's our job just to, you know, make sure we find those opportunities and put our guys in the best position to be successful.
We got time for one or two more. Let's go to Shelby.
Shelby Swanson with the News Sir. I've been speaking with a lot of folks, so currently in the program and past years, just about Mitch Mason and the impact that he's had. I'm curious from your perspective, just how do you kind of feel his presence around the building has impacted even when maybe with his illness he's not able to physically be here all the time?
You know, I think it would be impossible, you know, to measure, you know, Mitch's impact on this program, you know, on the guys involved in it. I mean, from, you know, fifth year senior to, you know, first year freshman or transfer. You know, Mitch's story has been one that, you know, has resonated with so many folks on our team. He's been, you know, a constant presence since I've been here. You know, the guys have so much respect and love for Mitch and, you know, what it is that he's done and, you know, and how he's, you know, fought this battle that he's currently in. You know, you almost struggle to find the words, you know, as to what he means to, you know, this program and the guys involved in it. And, you know, we're all praying for Mitch, and, you know, it was a great feeling to give him the game ball after Saturday's game.
Last one from Michael here.
Hey, Natrone, Michael Code, WCHL, ChapelRoad.com.
Thanks, sir.
You were pretty close with Coach Brown and played under him. You were on the staff for several years. I don't think anyone would have blamed you if you would have left after he left, but yet you're still here. What kept you around under a time of a lot of change within this football program?
You know, well, one is that, you know, it's a place that I never wanted to leave. You know, obviously, just like you said, you know, have a lot of love and, you know, respect for Coach Brown. And, you know, it's because of Coach Brown that, you know, I'm in this opportunity that, you know, well, you know, that I was able to take advantage of the opportunity, you know, that I have now. So as far as, you know, I was concerned, you know, there was no looking for a way out. You know, if anything, it was really, you know, just really trying to find, you know, whatever I could use to my advantage as a way in. you know, as a way in. And, you know, this program runs deep with me and my family. You know, my daughter just graduated from here. She was on the women's national soccer championship team. I met my wife here. So, you know, this place holds a very special place in the Meek family. And again, it's not one that we're looking to leave.
Perfect. Good stuff.
All
Thanks
right.
so much, Coach Means.
Thank you.